It's Friday, October the 17th for me, and that means it's time to check in on my budget. See, we're a little bit more than halfway through the month. Let's see how we're doing. This is what I started out with the month of October. The top part of my budget is money that comes out of my checking account. And then this side is money that comes out of a high yield savings account that I have a debit card for. And this is how much cash I allocated to my different accounts, leaving me with what should have been a zero-based budget for the end of the month. So let's see how we're doing on our spending. Let's see, oops, I moved my money around here. First thing I do, or I did this yesterday before I started this video, is I balanced my spending account. That's where most of my transactions come from. So everything is accounted for and my balance matches the balance in the bank. So that's a good thing. And then I have this, in that spending account, I have different categories. And we're looking at food, pet food, my subscriptions, and my self-care. When I first allocated the money, I left $195 in this spending account. And right now we're at $9.16. And one thing I've decided is that I only did, let's see, 1, 2, 3 transactions. And all of those could have been paid with cash. So next month, when I was thinking a lot about it, and next month, I'm just only going to give myself cash and not use that card to pay for any of my food expenses. I did make my Chewy order. So Chewy balance is now at $2.96. And my dog is super happy. She's got some new treats and the cats will eat another day. So, and then my subscriptions, this one's gone a little awry for me as well. I thought I was going to be left with a buffer of $9, but then I forgot that I had signed up for Apple TV and I had a free trial for a while and it ran out. So I got charged $9.99. And I do want to keep Apple TV. I love watching the morning show, and that runs through November. So I will be paying for that next month as well, and will increase my budget in this account. And then I have my cloud subscription, which will come out next week for 99 cents. So I think I'm going to end up the month with a negative $1.98 in that account. And then the self-care. Last week when I checked in, with self-care, I have $70 cash to pay for a haircut that is later on today. I'm very excited about that. And then the rest, $30, I was spending on things for myself, and I left it with 33 cents last week, but I really wanted a book, and so I bought myself a book. This was my one indulgence for the week, so I'm left with a negative $11.09 for the month. And in my self-defense, it was a book about money, but I did go overdraw that account. So I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to rectify some of this negative when I balance my budget at the end of the month. And really, there's no money left to be doing any spending for the rest of the month in terms of using my debit card. Then let's switch gears and look at my cash management account. That's these bills up here. I can tell you that, I lost my... so we had last week when we checked in, my Sparklight, which is my internet, hadn't come out yet, and it did this week for $75.84. I'd budgeted $76, and then my Verizon, which is my cell phone bill, is a dollar. I wish it was $1. $129.07 that came out, and then I pay the city I live in for water, sewer, and trash. That will come out next week, Monday, for $168.48, and then my natural gas bill is on level pay, and that will come out the last week of the month. The only other thing that happened in this account this week that's not on this budget is I did make an additional payment on my student loan, and we'll see that here in a second. But in terms of this cash management account, you just have those 2 outstanding charges. And so I did pay an additional $50 on my student loan, and where I got that money from is I had left a buffer in the spending account from last month's September. I had a $50 that wasn't spent, and I was kind of holding on to it in case I was running short on money, but I decided I could allocate it towards the student loan. So I transferred it here and made that additional payment. I should end up the month with a buffer of $17.79 in this account. And I am keeping that because the one bill that I can't that isn't on level pay in this account is this water bill. I had originally thought that a buffer, a monthly amount of 112 would be enough. And in the winter, that's an overage. And it should be, but I'm trying to build up a buffer to be able to catch the months when the bill is higher than average. And this is the savings account that I've left some money in. And that is where I keep I'm building a buffer for my pets to pay for their prescriptions and vet visits. And then I pay for health expenses out of here. And then auto insurance and travel, I didn't have any expenses. But one thing I figured out is that I have, especially this month, I have a lot of health expenses happening. So I'm actually going to move this over and keep it in a different part of my budget. I'm going to move it and stick it in the slot where food is, because even though it's messy, food I didn't really use this much, and I'm going to put that all in cash, and I'm going to keep my money for my health expenses in my debit card. But today that balance in this budget is $64.05. But for the rest of the month, I know that next week I have 2 specialty care visits, and this is my copay for those visits. So I need to spend $80 next week. I also am seeing a counselor. So my therapy visits are $10.48 a week. So I know I have 2 of those left this month, which leaves me with a negative $36.91. Not what I anticipated. This was not how I was going to end the month. I thought the 125 was going to be plenty. But that's where that is. And I will, next month I'm just going to do my budget a little bit differently in that category. But also next month I won't have these doctor visits and things. So it should be better. Just wanted to check in with you. I think I showed this to you last month. My savings account. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. This is just where I track my savings account, just like a check register, even though it's savings, just to keep track of the balance. This is my bread savings, high yield savings account, and nothing has changed in this account. I still have $600.83. Since my last check-in, I prepared a video about my CD ladder. This is where I'm saving money to buy a new car in the year 2035. My goal is to have talking too fast. My goal is to have $4,000 that matures annually in each month of the year. And I'm working towards, a lot of this money is currently in Fidelity CDs, and I much prefer the CDs that are in bread savings. So I'm in the process of, when these mature, of transferring them over to bread savings CDs. Yeah. And so I've got 2 that mature the first week of November. So I'm going to be moving $2,000 here to bread, and I will have them be populating in December and January is my plan. So spreading that love out a little bit. Again, I intend to use this to buy a new car in about 8 years, but if something happened and I needed some emergency money, I like the idea that this is like an emergency paycheck I could tap in for each month of the year if I needed to, that I could, withdraw these funds if needed. And then the other thing that I wanted to check in with you about is my debt. So I prepared a debt video recently as well. This is the balance that I started out the month with, $35,666.68. These are all student loans. I've been able to pay off all of my credit card debt. My car is paid for. It's 3 years old. I don't have a mortgage. I live with someone, and he has the mortgage on our house. So that's why you don't see a rent payment or a mortgage payment in my budget. He takes care of that. But I did make this extra payment. So I've made a $120 payment so far this month on my debt. And I wanted to share with you, this is, also this week I prepared a video about my income. So I have some employed income that comes in from eBay and Etsy and a couple of other sources. This first week of the month, my money is all kind of accounted for, but this week I received a paycheck of $42.25 that I could spend. I withdrew $20 in cash to use for my savings challenges, And so I do have $20 sitting there that I want to put towards my loan. And then this week, I'm starting, this is the period between October 15th and the 21st. And I know I'm already going to get paid for some of these balances. And this was from my video earlier in the week, and these have actually changed. Right now I have earned $56.33 from eBay. That's the same, but my total earnings next week will be at least $97.25. And I do pretty good with my reselling over the weekend. So I expect that money amount to go up, but I know that I'm going to have at least $20 to play with on my savings challenges again. And then I believe that I'll be able to make a $100 debt payment the third week of the month. So I am pleased about that. The only other thing that I thought that I might show you, this is just my October calendar, is that I created this week, and I made a list of all of my sinking funds, what I know I absolutely need or want to build up those balances to be, how much I think I want to contribute in the rest of the year. So I'm just thinking ahead between November and December, and actually I was trying to do some forward thinking about what these numbers would look like next year, how much I want to put towards them in my budget at the 1st of November, how much I currently have, how much I anticipate, and kind of where I'll end the rest of the year is what this column is. So it looks like I would be $7 short in my gifts, so I'm not worried about that. This the one in parentheses is a little bit of an overage, so those are just really under $10. The health, I prepared this before I realized I had all those medical expenses, but it does help me sort of figure if potentially I was $80 over, and I know I'm going to spend 40 of that, but maybe I don't need 125 to round out the year, but maybe I do. So, just got to think on that. And I'm going to have a little bit of a buffer in my pet vet account, but that's the intention. I really kind of want to build up that to at least $2,000 in case of medical emergencies for my pet. So nothing earth-shattering here. I realized I forgot dental. That was one thing that I didn't account for. So I kind of hand wrote that in, and we'll add I need to add that to my sinking funds folder. But just wanted to kind of show you what I've been thinking about. And then I want to just close out this video by making my donation to this Sub-Zero mission. This was a tracker brought to us by the Grounded Dollar, and Mel put this together to raise money for this charity that gives the homeless in Ohio hats. They give them cats. The cats will keep them warm, but maybe they'll give them hats, coats, gloves, and boots, sleeping bags, that sort of thing. And then I had pulled some money out of that work or earned income this month. And so I've got a little bit sitting here. So I'm going to give $1 to the Sub-Zero Mission Fund. And I keep this in my karma folder. I shared this yesterday in my video that I believe in. There's bad karma and there's good karma. So you can earn good karma. If you're a Buddhist, you believe this, and I'm not, but I like the idea that you can earn good, that if you give good out into the world, good things will happen to you as well. And I think that's a great way to live. So this is my folder for earning or saving money to give away to different charities. That is all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me with Budgeting and Planning with Steph. I hope seeing how I work my money is valuable to you. And thank you, and I'll see you next time.